What's goody, mi gente? It's Melany Movez, and you're watching Blacktinidad, where we talk about everything that's Latino, but black as F. Today is a very prideful day. My special guest we have with me today is none other than Victor Ramos. How are you, Papa?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. This is so exciting. I feel like we need more shows like this.
We do. We definitely need more shows like this. So I always like to start off either with like an introduction or an icebreaker, but let's do an icebreaker because you're from my hometown, you're from Brooklyn, so you know what I'm saying. The icebreaker today is in New York. I'm not gonna just be Brooklyn, but in New York, where is your favorite place to get pizza?
My favorite place. Where in Brooklyn are you from?
I'm from Canarsie.
Canarsie.
Okay.
What train stop?
Last stop, L train, Rockaway Parkway.
L train. Okay, so I'm on the L train, so I'm on Myrtle Wyckoff.
Okay. You with all the Puerto Ricans. Right? You in Bushwick. All right.
So
you off of Knickerbocker?
So not off of Knickerbocker, but I used to go to Knickerbocker.
Okay, that's the spot. You know,
so there's this place on Knickerbocker and DeKalb, and it's called Tony's Pizzeria, and it's so bomb. I used to go almost every day after high school, and it's like phenomenal. Like phenomenal. Like I don't play with my food, so it's really good.
All right, so now that we got a little, icebreaker out the way, tell me about yourself. We already know that, you're from Brooklyn, but like, tell me about yourself. Where's your family from? So on and so forth, and like, what do you do, and all of that.
So my family is originally from Puerto Rico, and they moved to New York. Like my parents were teenagers when they moved to New York. They actually got married really young. So I'm from New York, and I do mostly social media, so like makeup, beauty, all of that, like on Instagram, YouTube. I have a podcast, and I'm also a host here at LATV on the Q Agenda.
On the Q Agenda.
Yeah. All
right. That's dope. That's dope. And let me ask, because obviously you're Black Latino, or else you wouldn't be on the show.
Yeah.
Are both your parents Black Latinos? Is one of your parents Black and then the other not? Like, talk about being a Black Latino and how you identify, and who in your family is the Black Latino, and how, like, maybe when you came over to the West Coast, it was like all of a sudden different. You know what I mean? So
my dad's actually like the Black Latino, I guess. And it's crazy because growing up, I didn't really think about that. You know what I mean?
I don't think most kids
I didn't even think of myself as like mixed race or anything, because you always kind of put in this category. But then when you really get into it, you start to think like, oh wait, like my mom isn't Black. Like, we've opened up such a conversation where we're really getting to know like our ancestry and genealogy and all of that. But so yeah, it was on that end. But moving to LA was a very eye-opening experience, because I feel like the Hispanic experience in New York is so different from the experience in LA. So in LA, it's a very huge, like, Mexican, Central American culture that's just like at the forefront, while in New York is Puerto Rican, Dominican, very Caribbean. It's a very Caribbean Hispanic, but there are like Mexican and Central Americans. It's just not as much as like LA. So in my mind, that's what was normal. And then when I moved to LA, a lot of people would never assume that I was Hispanic, and that never happened to me in my life. There's not that assumption. So like sometimes I would hear certain comments and stuff in Spanish, and then I'd respond, and it'd be like the biggest shock. And then being Puerto Rican in LA is so weird, because it's like exotic here, and it's like, that's not exotic. Like,
I'm like, being Puerto Rican is not, you're like, where are you from?
Yeah, like it's like,
I'm from Brooklyn, bro.
No, literally. So I didn't really get it at first, but I get it now. But the tide is changing. Like, there's a lot of East Coast people moving here, so I think it's becoming more of like,
more people are realizing like, oh,
there's
Latinos
a diversity.
Don't just look like mestizo. I feel that.
Exactly.
And I think even last week I went into a shop and I ordered some food, and I can tell that the woman was having difficulty speaking in English, so I spoke to her in Spanish, and she was like, ¿Tú hablas español? And I'm like, sí. She was like so shocked, and it's still like, it bothers me sometimes. I'm just
Does it bother you?
A little bit, because in my mind I'm like, why would I not speak Spanish? Like, why wouldn't I?
I mean, but also I think you have to get in like the other person's shoes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I guess, but I think that's also why, like, I started a show like this, because not only do I speak Spanish, but the blacker of the blackest people speak Spanish.
You bring
and
awareness.
They're in Latin America, so it's really great to bring awareness.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Now we're gonna wrap that up. When we come back, we're gonna talk to Victor about makeup and about some other things, you know, and we'll see you when we come back. What's up, y'all? It's Melany Movez, and again, you're watching Blacktinidad. Today in our show, we have none other than Victor Ramos.
Yes.
All right, so it's Pride. Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
All right, I want to talk to you about maybe, you know, your journey in identifying with your sexuality and so on and so forth, and maybe like some of the issues that came up in a Latino household coming out, if you had to come out or when you had to come out, and how was that journey for you?
So I actually was outed to my parents. Yeah, so I was 14 years old and I thought I was so grown. I had like a boyfriend and stuff. And my dad one day randomly texted me. I was at the pizzeria with my boyfriend, of course, very New York, at the pizza shop after school. And he's like, oh, we need to talk. And I don't know, something in my spirit, like I knew exactly what he wanted to talk about. Because one, like he was like, oh, come to the house, but my parents weren't together. So I'm like, why are you in the house? Like, why would you be there? So I knew. So I get to the house and he's like, hey, like somebody called me from your school, so it was someone's parent, and they told me that like you have a boyfriend and that this and that. So as soon as he says that, like I just burst out in tears. Like I'm just like, because it was almost like
that's such a violation.
It was very unexpected.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you know, it's always gossip and all this. So I obviously confirmed, and he actually took it very well.
Oh.
Like he was like, oh no, I just want to know, like this is what's being said. Like he was very accepting and very compassionate towards me. I feel like my mom, she didn't say anything negative or anything. I think she just had to process it, which was a little shocking for me because, I was a mama's boy, you know what I mean? So it was just, to me, it was like, oh, wow, like I didn't expect this to be the dynamic. But I don't think that I had a hard time coming out. Like, I'm honestly grateful that the person did that because I didn't have to worry about it and I got to live my life so early on in my truth. So, but I think I was also kind of living my life out loud so that almost like somebody would tell them so that I didn't have to tell them.
Can you tell?
Yeah,
Can you tell?
Because it was not a secret. It was not a secret.
You know what? That's such a blessing because I have family members and they're older than you, so maybe that's what it is now. That because what 14-year-old
generation? Yeah, it's a generation thing. It was 2010.
Sheesh. It's 2010. All right, so like my family members when they were coming out in the 90s.
Oh yeah.
You know. So that was still something that was still very, very faux pas. You know, like we still had baby boomer. Even before that, grandparents who were like super Christian, but
I think it's just a lot of people are just worried about what other people think.
Yeah.
So I think with a lot of parents, especially from older generations, it's so like image based that it's like, oh, what are other people gonna think? I was just blessed to have parents that really didn't care. Like. Even to this day, like I am on social media wearing makeup and doing skits and just in costumes and all of that. And like people will bring it to my dad, me being a grown adult at this point. And he'll like tell me and he'll just be like, like, okay. Like,
and you know what, I find even that's changing because like I have a brother who's a pastor and maybe like back in the day, he'd have been like, no. Now he's realizing like, oh, now there needs to be a little bit more acceptance here. Like now realizing how, certain texts in the Bible were changed and how there was an agenda, and we'll get to that in the next part of the show, but there was an agenda to ostracize gay people by Christianity. So that's such a blessing that you didn't have to go through that.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. So when we come back, we are going to talk to Victor about maybe some things that are going on in the media, how he feels. You know what I'm saying? So come back and we will say about that. We'll see y'all in a bit. What's up, mi gente? Here, Melany Movez. You're watching Blacktinidad. My guest today is Victor Ramos. You guys may or may not know, but he hosts a show here right on LATV called The Q Agenda.
Yes.
And that kind of is a perfect segue into what we want to talk about next. So I find on social media, there's always like these back and forth conversations about a gay agenda, and especially a black gay agenda.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's talk about that. How do you feel about sometimes people expressing this idea that there's a gay agenda, you know, and how artists like Lil Nas X and all these other artists who are coming out are trying to like turn our children into gay people?
Yeah, I've gotten that all the time, like even in my social media. And it's always from other black people that it's like, oh, you're a part of this gay agenda of like trying to convert our black men into being gay, etc. And I've actually done my research. Like I'm like, let me go into this, let me see, because whenever I hear things, I don't like to dismiss anything without doing my research. Like I want to know where this is coming from. I honestly think it's a case of just this crabs in a bucket mentality and kind of thinking. It's almost like people that were doing like the people that we don't know their names, we don't know their faces, that are like behind the scenes, like just oppressing and all of that, really, I think have brainwashed a lot of our community into thinking that if you're gay, you're less than. So already we're kind of on the outs in society, and it's like we're representing blackness in a negative light if we're gay, which I don't necessarily believe that's the case at all.
I mean, I don't think you would be gay.
Yeah, like I wouldn't be living my life. I'm not a clown. I'm not gonna be used as a pawn to, you know, negatively affect people that look like me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you know, it's really specific almost to like black gay men, because it's like there's this thing like, oh, it's only black gay men, but the gay men that have been on the mainstream have not been black gay men. Like it's not black gay men that are in the mainstream. So it's just, I don't get it.
Yeah,
like
I don't understand it either. And
now
I think
Lil Nas X, that's why, sorry, but that's why they're so upset at him, because it's like, how dare you? Like, you know what I mean?
And I guess because he has such a big following that are children, because the song that he originally had that went viral,
Old Town Road.
Old Town Road was huge on TikTok, and now they're like, he's trying to make all our kids gay. And in my mind, I'm like,
but let's
you
talk
can't
about,
make anyone gay. And
let's talk about the rappers that are straight men who talk about drugs. And let's not even leave it only in hip hop, because I think that that's also kind of negative in a way, in associating only with hip hop, because pop is always talking about sex and, you know, like drugs, and we glorify that as an industry. But for some reason, if it's like a gay man, it's like, ah!
Yeah,
like,
it's so, it doesn't make any sense, but that's again because the people in power that we don't see, the puppet strings,
yes, exactly.
right, the puppeteers, they want to continue to ostracize these people.
Divide and conquer.
They want to maintain that status
Distractions.
quo. Exactly. And the idea that gay black men are trying to emasculate, and in my mind, I'm like, have you ever met masculine gay men? Because they exist.
Yes.
Not all gay
There's a
men are
spectrum.
effeminate.
It's a
Like,
spectrum.
what about the very masculine gay men? What happens then? Like, now what's your argument? You know what I'm saying? Like, and we from New York. I know the gangsters of gangsters.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're gay. They just happen to like
you
men.
go to like Atlanta or something, like there's people that like you would never know. Like that's what they say.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? And just because you don't say that you are doesn't mean that you aren't. So there's plenty of people that are lurking in the shadows that it's like.
Yeah, and especially that a lot more people nowadays are being more open to exploring their sexual fluidity and so on and so forth. I just think it's ridiculous sometimes, some of the reasons why they decide to feel like they need to ostracize a group of people by their sexual orientation, or just be angry at someone over something that literally does not affect them. Like, you being gay does not affect my life, like, at all. Why would I want to, you know, say anything hateful towards you? Why?
Yeah,
so
and I'm
ridiculous.
not forcing myself on anyone. I'm not forcing, like, I don't believe that anyone has to agree with how I live my life or how I choose to kind of go about living in my truth. But at the same time, don't do that to me. Like, it's all respect, you know what I mean? I don't really care whether someone accepts me or not. Just leave me alone. You know, that's really how I feel. Like, you can't win over everyone.
All right, guys. Well, that was an interesting conversation. When we come back, we really gonna talk about makeup because I need some tips. I mean, not that many tips because look at this cat. But I'm gonna talk about some makeup tips and tricks and some of the funny, fun stuff that Victor has going on his social media. All right, right here on Blacktinidad. What up, mi gente? We have Victor Ramos here today, and we're gonna talk about makeup. I mean, I'm usually looking flawless, but...
I mean, yeah, you look great.
Thanks. I was telling you earlier, like, I've been not using foundation. I've been only using, like, a BB or CC cream because, like, I enjoy my skin looking like my skin. But since you're the makeup guru, give us, like, 2 or 3 like of your makeup tips, especially that sometimes like with our skin complexions, once you like start getting darker, you have so many different shades. Like, what are some like secrets that you use to make sure that your makeup is always popping on fleek?
You know, I think in all honesty, it's really about skin. Skin is so underrated. Like, people focus so much on the makeup, but I feel like if you take care of your skin, like, you can literally mess up your makeup, and for some reason it'll just like kind of go on like butter. And also, like, for me, even though yes, I've done makeup for a long time, I will literally go into like a makeup store and ask the employees. Like, I'm not too prideful for that. Like, if you're someone that struggles, like, they're trained to know your undertone, to know like what works for you, what doesn't work for you. So I always say, like, don't be afraid to like ask for help. For me, it's just trial and error. What you think looks good one day, in like 3 months, you're gonna look at it and be like, oh, I wasn't crazy. Like, I'm not crazy about that. Like, that's always gonna happen. Trends are always changing. Like, your makeup style will always change. Things that I like now, I hated before. So it's all about experimenting, asking for help, and going on YouTube. Oh, there's nothing you cannot find on YouTube.
Literally, there's nothing you cannot learn on the internet at all. Like, literally this weekend, I was helping my friend. She was doing like a build out for something. She does event planning. Never reupholstered a chair in my life, bro. Boom, reupholstered a chair. So if I can learn how to reupholster a chair, anybody can learn makeup on YouTube, for sure.
Anything.
Cool. All right, but let's talk about some of these skits that you got going on your social media. You took it back a little bit with the New York ones. Those had me dying. But the last one, the Nicki Minaj with the jelly butter. So what was your impetus for some of them? And what do you think you're gonna do next? Who you gonna, put on next?
So for me, it kind of came out of, I've been doing beauty for so long, and even though I love makeup, like, that's not the whole part of me. So I was like, you know what, like, I'm obsessed with pop culture. Let me recreate these moments, because when I'm with my friends, I'm always reciting some like line from like, how you say, like New York, who Tiffany Pollard, and she's like the queen of reality TV, and she's actually posted my stuff on her social media. So she's shown love. And I was just like, I want to recreate this. And then I do all the editing, the filming, everything on my own.
Bro, you have the hand motions on point. And I'm a dancer, so I pay attention
to choreography.
So in my mind, I was like, he literally said, and she said, and then you put it side by side, which I love, because sometimes people do the recreation, and I'm like, her hand wasn't there, her foot wasn't there.
Yeah, no.
But you literally have it so spot on. I'm like, oh no, he rehearsed this.
Thank you. You know what's crazy? It's actually 9 times out of 10, it's like not really rehearsed. It's like me just like, I'll grab my phone, and then I'll be like, okay, like I'll use like kind of as a dancer, maybe like in a song you'll use certain words in the song
when she said no, her hand was here. When she said yes, Or okay.
Exactly. So it's literally a choreography that you're following in a sense. But yeah, I love it. I'm definitely, they're gonna get bigger.
Yeah.
As time goes by, they're gonna get bigger. I feel like there's definitely been a progression so far.
Yeah, I definitely gotta. I'm gonna put in a request for making the band.
Oh,
Lorianne Gibson.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
Boom,
cat. Boom, boom. Definitely. What other ones? Or even the making of the band when they were like out singing each other.
Or when they was jogging, remember when he made them jogging? That's a major throwback.
All the way to the Cheesecake Factory, bro.
Yes.
I was like, I would have quit. I'd have been like, bye, Diddy. You can go get your own cheesecake. I'm out of here, bro.
Shall we have a dream, though? You have a dream?
I'm like, I could go dream my bed. I'm out of here. Yeah, so those are cool. I look forward to them. Definitely look forward to them.
Thank you.
All right, well, how about you tell us where exactly we can find you, what are your handles, and what you got going on that maybe we can look forward to?
So you can find me on all social media, Victor Ramos, so YouTube, that's VICMRAM. So yeah, so YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, because you know the young kids love TikTok. And you can find me on my podcast on either Apple or Spotify.
And what's the
Talking with Vic, you know, the talking, like very New York. And yeah, there's a couple things that are coming out that I'm a part of that I can't really talk about right now. But you'll see. If you follow me, then you'll see it. There you go.
Hold on, let me. Because I want the tea, but you're going to have to give it to me.
After, I'll give it to you.
All right, that's some good tea. All right, well, thank you so much for coming to the show today. This was cute, nice little Brooklyn Boricua on set with me today or whatever. I felt like I was back home.
And keeping it in the LATV family.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's a family affair, you know, no married or whatever. But we'll see you again. Thank you so much. You guys, this was Victor Ramos, and we are wrapping up today on Blacktinidad. See you guys next week, Wednesday, same time, same place, and as usual, black as